evening and thanks for tuning in. I'm Ann Powell with the WJTS News. 4 juveniles are recovering from injuries after a crash in Du County. Police responded to reports of a crash with injuries on County Road 800 South near State Road 161 in Holland on Wednesday evening. 6 juveniles were involved in that crash. 4 of them were transferred to Memorial Hospital for further medical treatment. One of those juveniles was then airlifted from Memorial Hospital to another facility to receive further treatment. The accident is still under investigation. Only minor damage was reported after a weed caught fire in a grain bin early Thursday morning. The Hayesville Volunteer Fire Department responded to reports of weed on fire in a grain bin on US 231 near Inman Cemetery Road in Martin County. Hayesville Volunteer Firefighter Department Chief Shane Fox says the cause of the fire was likely a grain bin dryer. Approximately 2 semi-loads of wheat were in the bin at the time of the fire, and Fox says that damage was minimal and only the outer rim of that wheat was burned. 2 trucks and 7 firefighters were on the scene for a little over 1 hour. Drunkenly throwing fireworks at people landed a Jasper man in handcuffs this week. Jasper police responded to reports of a passenger in a vehicle throwing fireworks at people in the Riverwalk area near Azura restaurant on Wednesday evening. The vehicle was shortly located after that. The incident at the Days Inn parking lot. Police soon determined that the man, identified as 23-year-old Antonio Mota Espinoza, was throwing fireworks out of the vehicle. He was then charged with criminal recklessness and public intoxication, and then booked into the Du County Security Center. Indiana State Police troopers in Bloomington are asking for more information about a possible drag racing incident on I-69. Troopers responded to an alleged reckless driving complaint on I-69 in Monroe County on Wednesday morning. The original call claimed that a black Dodge Charger and a black Acura passenger car were traveling south on I-69 around the 124-mile marker around 8:50 a.m. and were driving recklessly in a manner that is consistent with drag racing. Troopers immediately responded to that area but were unable to locate either of the vehicles. Anyone with information on the alleged complaint or who may have dashcam footage of the complaint is requested and encouraged to call the Indiana State Police Bloomington Post at 812-332-4411 and ask for Sergeant Ryan Miller. Failing to yield the right-of-way caused a 3-vehicle accident in Jasper on Wednesday afternoon. 37-year-old Violet Miller of Jasper was driving southbound on Newton Street in the left lane and was approaching the intersection with 7th Street. She failed to yield the right-of-way when turning, crashing into 52-year-old Kenneth Eberhardt of Jasper, who was traveling northbound on Newton Street in the right lane, approaching that same intersection. The impact of the crash then pushed Miller's vehicle into the front of 63-year-old Deborah Boyles, also of Jasper, who was stopped at the stop sign on 7th Street facing west. Miller refused EMS at the scene and was later transported by a friend to Memorial Hospital for a minor head injury. No other injuries were reported. Miller's 2014 Buick Encore was a total loss. Eberhardt's 1992 Ford Bronco suffered around $3,000 in damages, and Boyle's 2003 Toyota 4Runner suffered around $200 in damage. Miller was also cited for failing to yield the right-of-way. After a year-long hiatus due to the global pandemic, the Spencer County 4-H Fair is returning to the area this weekend. Jennifer Mayo, 4-H Youth Extension Educator in Spencer County, says she explains what she's looking forward to seeing at this year's fair.
I'm really excited that we are back in person, that our 4-Hers are able to exhibit in person, to show their livestock in person, that everything that they've worked really hard for all year, we get to celebrate with them.
Mayo also revealed that the fair may differ from previous years because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, it'll affect us a little bit. We did Project Check-In on Saturday the 19th, and so we did that just so that we would have things a little bit more spread out. Face masks are optional. And we're just doing things like that where we'll have hand sanitizer everywhere and having things more spread out just so that we can take those safety precautions.
If you're curious about what's going on at the fair this year, here's Mayo explaining what events and attractions will be available for fair goers.
There is a ton to look forward to. Tonight is our 100-year celebration, so 100 years of 4-H in Spencer County is a huge accomplishment. And then later next week, all the animals come in. We have our livestock shows, we have a silly safari show, inflatables. all kinds of things that we're going to be outside and just having a ton of fun.
The Spencer County Fair starts on Friday, June 25th and ends on Monday evening. Some drivers in Jasper will need to find a new parking spot next week. The Jasper Street Department and their contractor, Sealmaster, is starting their annual asphalt pavement preservation project on Monday, June 28th. Barring inclement weather or any other unforeseen events, the following streets will be affected: Grassland Hills, the south end south of 31st Street, Victory Drive from 36th Street to 37th Street, Leslie Drive from Railing Drive to 36th Street, Rhinstrasse, the dead end south of 43rd Street, Hartford Drive, Portersville Road Path, Olaf Solgia Street, Evergreen Lane, north of Brescher Drive, Olaf Sugarcane Court, Olaf Judith Avenue, Ladino Lane from Evergreen Lane to Bluegrass Lane, and all of Susanna Avenue. Motorists are not allowed on these streets during the application of Liquid Road. Affected residents will also be notified by door hanger the day before the application begins. Residents must have all of their vehicles removed from their garage, streets, and driveways prior to 7 a.m. on the day which the application is applied to their street, and will not be allowed on the street until it is reopened. Each street that is treated will be closed for approximately 2 days, depending on weather and material drying conditions. Indiana's jobless rate saw a slight increase in May. According to the Indiana Department of Workforce Development, the rate jumped up to 4% in May, which is up from 3.9% back in April. The state's unemployment rate remains below the national rate of 5.8%. Indiana's labor force had a net increase of 6,370 over the previous month. This was a result of an increase of 3,292 unemployed residents and an increase of 3,078 employed residents. Indiana's total labor force, which includes both Hoosiers employed and those seeking employment, stands at 3.34 million. The state's 63.2% labor force participation rate still remains above the national rate of 61.6%. Hoosier parents and caregivers now have a roadmap to guide them in exercising their legal rights to have a voice in their child's education. Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita released the Parents' Bill of Rights this week and says that it will serve as a resource for parents and outlines the rights that they are entitled to exercise. These include questioning and addressing your child's school officials and school board members at public designated meetings, questioning and reviewing their curriculum taught at your child's school by questioning local school boards and administrators. Expect that the school curriculum taught in your child's school aligns with the Indiana and federal laws. Take part in the election and approval of academic standards for the state of Indiana. Receive the educational materials and curriculum taught in your child's school classroom, and run as a candidate for your local school board. For more information, you can head to our website, WJTS.tv. Time is running out to apply for the 21st Century Scholars Program. The application deadline for this year is on Wednesday, June 30th. To qualify, students must apply during their 7th or 8th grade year. Most students who qualify for the federal free and reduced lunch guidelines will also qualify for the 21st Century Scholars Program, but only if they apply before the June 30th deadline. To enroll or for more information, you can visit scholars.in.gov/enroll. All Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicle branches are closing for Independence Day weekend. All branches will be closed beginning on Saturday, July 3rd through Monday, July 5th for the Independence Day holiday. All branches will resume regularly scheduled business hours on Tuesday, July 6th. For a full list of branch locations, to complete an online transaction, or to find a 24-hour BMV Connect kiosk near you, you can visit in.gov/BMV. And stay tuned. Weekly forecasts and sports with Kurt Gooksell are still to come on the WJTS News.